Hey everyone, Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com. And if you're a guitar player or if you're recording and mixing guitars for your band or for clients, then this video is for you. I want to make sure you don't destroy your guitar tone. And what I'm talking about is a pretty common issue with multi-tracking guitars, specifically if you're putting up a couple of different microphones on your amp. So in this case, I got a mix and they layered a lot of guitar parts, but it looks like two main guitar parts in particular, they decided to put two microphones on the amp. So they used an SM57, a dynamic microphone from Shure, and they also used some kind of condenser microphone from AKG. I don't know which one. But all I know is that it's the exact same pass. It's the same performance, but they must have had two mics pointing at the amp at that moment, and so they captured both. The theory is, right, you've got two different types of microphones that capture a picture of the guitar tone differently. You know, dynamics have a different way they interact with audio versus condensers, and so there's benefits to both. And you could use either one. But in their case, they decided, let's mic it up with both. That way, later in the mix, we can either pick and choose which one we like later, which is just deferring responsibility, really. But maybe what they had in mind was they could blend the two and kind of get this perfect guitar tone, which has the best of a condenser and the best of a dynamic. Now that sounds great. That's a tip in and of itself. But here's the problem. When you do something like that, you can run into some major phase issues potentially. They're easy to fix, but you might be frustrated. So let me show you an example. Here I have the same pass. The top one has been mic'd with the dynamic microphone and sounds different than the bottom one, which is mic'd with the AKG. Take a listen to them by themselves. Here's just the 57. Right? Here's just the condenser. Very different pictures of the exact same performance, which is cool. They're different microphones. They do different things. So you'd think you've got that brighter, crisper condenser and that punchier, mid-rangier dynamic, and why don't you blend the two and get like an awesome, thicker tone? Here's what happens with them together. It's horrible. It's thin, and I don't know if you noticed, but it's quieter than even one guitar part by itself. For example, here's the 57, and then I'm going to simply add the condenser along with it. So here's just the 57. All right, let's add the condenser. Take it away. Major problems, right? It sounds worse than the 57 by itself, okay? But lest you think it's just the condenser making the 57 sound bad, here's the condenser by itself at the bottom, and then I'm going to bring in the 57 as well. Bring in the 57. Yeah, see the condenser? The condenser sounds great by itself. Different, but great. Then you bring in the 57, and it sounds metallic and thin and hollow and quieter. Okay, this is classic phase cancellation. And this is the crazy thing. If you zoom in, you can see this. So, you know, I'm hearing this, I'm thinking these guitar parts sound horrible. How do they not hear this? But it turns out the mics by themselves sounded great, but when they're playing on top of each other, they're just out of phase. Take a look. If you zoom in, okay, let's zoom in here. At the top, you can see the 57, the wave is peaking up, okay? Directly below it on the condenser microphone, The same piece of audio is dipping down. It's at the second half of the cycle of the waveform, okay? It's a waveform going up and down. All right, and then to the right, when the waveform goes up on the condenser, at the exact same time, the waveform is going down on the 57. This is classic audio being basically 180 degrees out of phase with each other. So I don't know how they mic'd up the amp. I don't know how close these mics were to each other. Probably not close, because audio is hitting them at the same time, but at in the opposite direction. So they could have been pointing towards each other. Who knows? It doesn't matter. What matters is that it sounds horrible. And if you zoom in, you see the culprit. You can tell that the audio is, by themselves, you can't tell if the audio is going up or down. Your ears can't tell that. You can just tell when they're going together. One is dipping down while the other is going up. So they cancel each other out. You actually lose audio and you get the worst part remaining. So here's the simple fix, people. Just flip the phase of one of the two guitars. Doesn't matter which one. You could do that by rendering it out that way, or you could just use a simple plugin if you're going to EQ this guitar anyway. So I've got an EQ on the 57 for a high pass filter. That's what I'm using it. And on EQs, a lot of plugins, there's usually this 0 with a line through it, and it's the polarity invert button. You see this a lot. I've talked about this on the Recording Revolution and in videos regarding drums, snare drums, toms, that kind of thing. It's the same for guitars. So then now we can go from this thin tone, and then when I flip the polarity button, you're going to hear the thickness of both guitars now. Here we go. There it is. Take it away. We're not processing it. We're not adding or boosting anything. We're not compressing. We're just literally flipping an audio wave upside down, as it were, and you're getting what actually they sound like. So by themselves, here's the 57. And now we can add the condenser. Take away the 57. Now we're getting what we think we should have been getting, which is a really killer guitar tone that has that great sound. That's really a combination of two pretty decent sounding mics. It's really one monstrous sound. So that's probably what they were going for when they recorded it. But when I pulled it up in the mix, I had a really nasty sounding guitar part. And it turns out it was some phase issues. So on your next mix, make sure if anything sounds weird or if you feel like the guitars should sound thicker than they do, perhaps it was just multi-mic'd and you need to take a look at the phase relationship. Zoom in, take a look, flip the phase on one or the other, see if it helps or not. That's how not to destroy the guitar tone you worked so hard to achieve. Hope that helps. Again, this is Graham at therecordingrevolution.com. Please subscribe if you are on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You'll get notice of when all the new videos are happening. And if you do Twitter, Facebook, follow there, just because I'm posting content throughout the week that isn't just on YouTube. Also, I want you to be able to get that. Thanks again, everyone. We'll talk to you on another video soon. Take care.